Welcome to Bed Crime Stories Podcast. I'm your host, T. If you're interested in fact-based true crime with some speculation, and if you want it delivered in a soothing, calm manner, and not some loud, whiny voice that grates like fingernails on a chalkboard, then you found your tribe. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to support my work, please consider a membership. Making videos the way I do, where they're pre-recorded, actually takes a lot more time than doing a live. There's research, writing, and editing involved. A live you do, and then you hit publish. So there's no editing involved typically, and I think a lot of people don't realize that. With all that out of the way, let's dig in. Unfortunately, the case of missing autistic teenager Sebastian Rogers has led to utter madness and mayhem on social media in places like TikTok and YouTube. Certain creators are being accused of slandering people on what's been loosely referred to as the Green Team, which includes Seth Rogers. Today, I want to talk about the lawsuit that plaintiffs AtNight Media, LLC, Dwayne Dog the Bounty Hunter Chapman, Seth Rogers, Tony Mathis, Nick the Hat, Bullhorn Betty, allegedly with Brittany J, Julia Valenti, the dog handler, Hong Z, and another creator have filed in Pennsylvania. It's a very confusing situation, and rather than try to read you the motion, I thought I'd take a stab at explaining it in a short, concise manner to the best of my ability. Now, at first, some of these plaintiffs that I just mentioned filed cease and desist letters to certain true crime creators, accusing them of harassment. You may recall that. I guess the plaintiffs felt that the cease and desist letters did not do the trick. The plaintiffs then filed a preliminary injunction. They referred to the defendants, those certain true crime creators, as a criminal enterprise that was working together to harass anyone who was searching for Sebastian Rogers or trying to solve the case. This injunction was basically setting the stage for a civil RICO lawsuit from what I understand. However, RICO is a federal act, which I will explain a little later. Apparently, at one point, there were as many as 50 creators or does accused of this behavior. Now, the true crime creators accused of this harassment in that first injunction were Barbecue Lady, who I believe is primarily a TikToker, and also Granny's Watching, who is a YouTuber from what I understand. I've never watched any of their content, so I can't really speak to that. Both of these creators live in Pennsylvania, and many of the plaintiffs also live in Pennsylvania, hence the reason this was filed in Pennsylvania. Now let me define what a RICO case is per my online research. RICO refers to a legal action based on the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. So RICO, R-I-C-O, is the acronym for this act. This is a federal law designed to combat organized crime by targeting criminal enterprises and allowing for the prosecution of individuals involved in a pattern of racketeering activity. Sounds pretty serious. Sounds like the mafia. So the plaintiffs are saying that these true crime creators, Granny's Watching and Barbecue Lady, who are the defendants, basically formed a criminal enterprise, and they've been harassing anyone who's trying to find Sebastian and help solve the case, allegedly. Some of the behaviors that the defendants are accused of include 1. Ridiculing some of the plaintiffs, 2. Using derogatory language against them on live shows, 3. Promoting conspiracy theories, 4. doxing the plaintiffs, and 5, hacking into the plaintiffs' devices, and more. The creators are accused of using social media to twist Seth Rogers' words to make him seem insincere, to make him seem like somebody who wants to profit off his son's tragic disappearance. Some of the creators are accused of basically sharing false information to incite their followers into harming the plaintiffs, keeping the conspiracy theories floating, and spreading slanderous information. Now, this week, an emergency motion was filed by AtNight Media, Dwayne Dog Chapman, Seth Rogers, Tony Mathis, Bullhorn Betty, and more. This motion was filed in Delaware County Court in Pennsylvania. The motion seeks to stop the unauthorized recording, broadcasting, and doxing of those involved when it comes to the ongoing legal battle. So apparently some creators were in the courtroom, or they planted people in the courtroom during the legal proceedings, and then other creators were doing lives as those in the courtroom shared images, maybe videos from the courtroom, as well as information about what was going on, how the people looked, what they were doing. So this emergency motion was filed following allegations of courtroom footage being illegally shared online by certain other creators. And again, Seth Rogers is a plaintiff in all of this, and Chris and Katie Proudfoot are both named in the injunction, but they are not named as being part of the criminal enterprise. However, it's been implied that perhaps Chris and Katie are part of the enterprise, allegedly. I have to say it's really sickening to have Sebastian associated with all of this. Once again, he's getting lost in all the shenanigans. I feel like it's one thing to speculate, but it's another thing to go real life and go into courtrooms and start messing with the proceedings or treating people involved in the case maliciously by doxing them. Now, there was also a situation where a YouTuber named Julie Skolnick was apparently asking her subscribers to help her get Steve Fisher of SF Investigates to lose his license to work as a private investigator. Steve Fisher was also inserting himself at one point in the lawsuits with AtNight. Fisher was trying to support the creators who were accused of the harassment, so he was, from what I understand, trying to support Barbecue Lady and Granny's Watching and others. However, he has since removed his legal objections to these motions, and now he's removed himself altogether from X, and he had a huge following on X. So this is quite a move for him to make. I'm thinking maybe his lawyer told him to do this. That's me speculating. I don't know that for certain. The bummer is that now we're not going to be getting any reports from him about the case and what he says he discovered while investigating it. It's unclear if he's even still working on the case for Katie and Chris Proudfoot. I know a lot of people are happy to see Fisher go because he's one of those people who you either love or you hate. A lot of people have major respect for him, but a lot of other people feel like he's untrustworthy, deceptive, working for the Proudfoots, maybe not to find Sebastian, but rather to try and protect them, the Proudfoots, or make a case for why they are not currently charged with any crimes. He's definitely been a supporter of the Proudfoots. I have to tell you guys, trying to figure out this whole thing has given me a massive headache today. It is so confusing. But I think there's a definite danger in crossing the line between, let's call it, reasonable speculation, when you use the words allegedly and in my opinion, and then basically sharing your conspiracy theories as if they are definite facts. Now, apparently both Barbecue Lady and Granny's Watching have both gotten lawyers, and Barbecue Lady, through her attorney, is saying I didn't do the things that these people are accusing me of. Now, about a month ago, there was a hearing, but there were no judgments made from what I understand, and the hearing was to figure out if the case that AtNight Media, Seth Rogers, Tony Mathis, Dwayne Dog Chapman, and the others has any legs, and if it should move forward. The defense, so those creators that are accused, are trying to do an anti-slap motion, which I looked up, and that is a legal procedure used to protect freedom of speech and expression, and to also say that a lawsuit filed against you is frivolous. And through an anti-slap case, the defendants can fight for damages. So a defendant like Barbecue Lady and Granny's Watching can claim that their First Amendment rights to free speech are being punished or deterred by the plaintiff's accusations and motions. Now, when defendants file an anti-slap motion, the plaintiff or plaintiffs must show a probability of prevailing in the lawsuit. So Seth Rogers, AtNight Media, Dwayne Chapman, who is Dog the Bounty Hunter, Bullhorn Betty, they would all have to show that they have enough evidence to prove that these creators were indeed engaging in a criminal enterprise to undermine efforts to find Sebastian and or to solve the mystery of his disappearance. And again, the latest emergency motion filed by AtNight and what I'm going to call the Green Team is to stop the unauthorized recording, broadcasting, and doxing related to the court proceedings that are going on about this civil RICO case against the true crime creators, including Barbecue Lady and Granny's Watching. Other names that have come up about this emergency motion, from what I understand, allegedly, are people like Cluminati and Cletus, J is for Justice, Queen Bee. There may be others as well, and it's my understanding that these creators were possibly the ones sharing information from the court proceedings, allegedly. If I'm wrong, I'm sure somebody's going to let me know. So that's my understanding of what's going on. Let me know if you have any more questions, and I will see you next time on Bed Crime Stories. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I hope you have a lovely weekend.